going on, guys? How's your training?
Been good.
Yeah, looks like it. You guys have been doing some fucking crazy weights. Fucking Jason here doing the 4-plate incline for 10 reps?
10 and with one with assistance. Jordan had to help me on the last one, but so I got 11, but he had to help on the last one. But I was excited because I honestly wasn't feeling it that day. I just kind of, was gonna test it out and see how I gradually go up. I hit 365 for a couple reps. And was like, let's put 4 or 5 on there and just see what happens today. And just felt good when I started moving.
Yeah, sweet. Jordan, you getting strong too?
Somewhat. I mean, I feel like I'm getting stronger in some of the different movements that Jason's kind of been having me do. But I definitely don't feel like I can hold my own with Jason at times. There's times where he just has dumb strength that just makes no sense. And I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going to have to just drop weight here. I don't know what else to do.
Jordan, are you still in like an off period right now?
Yeah, I'm in an off period right now. So it's just it's for me, me and Robin were talking about the difference is Robin's like, oh, I feel great when I'm off. I'm like, no, I feel weak and I feel bored and I'm ready to grow. So my mindset, yeah, I'm training hard and that doesn't change, but it's still in the back of your head. I'm like, I want to be maximizing every workout. I want to be getting everything I can out of it. So I feel like when I am on, not only is my energy better, my recovery is better. I'm not as sore, all those things. I'm more motivated, I'm more motivated to maximize every single thing possible.
Yeah, I get that. I find I have probably a negative mindset shift sometimes when I go into a cruise phase or an off phase, in the sense that I kind of convince myself that I can't progress. And I'm just okay, I'm just here to maintain. And I kind of train that way, I'm not on cycle. So I can't push it. So I won't push it. And even if I do push it, there won't be a benefit from it because I'm not taking stuff that helps me grow.
Exactly.
We were kind of talking about this in the gym the other day, actually, me and Jordan and another client of mine that, he kind of didn't take our advice, but he wanted to jump on some stuff already anyways, even though he's really young. But, I have the opposite mindset. When I'm off and, just on TRT or just off everything, I want to go harder than ever because I want to make sure that I'm not going to lose anything and that I can possibly, keep growing and keep gaining. I feel like everything has to be more intense and more perfect because I don't have that assistance.
Well, that's my mindset when it comes to my food. So when I'm off, I really push my appetite and my food and just trying to make sure I'm really strict with all of my food, getting them in, not doing cheat meals, for the most part, because I'm really thinking about, okay, I really want to hold on to all my muscle. And that, some of that comes from training. Yeah, obviously still train hard, but a lot of that comes from just your eating your food and making sure that things stay consistent, that you don't fall off or you don't get slack on it, and that you don't miss a meal or whatever. So for me, I have that same mindset, but it's towards eating.
Yeah, that's kind of how both you were saying about the cheat meal, even both of us right now, our cheat meals have been going to the steakhouse and getting a steak and chicken breast and a sweet potato or something. It hasn't been in the past, I've been horrible with all right, I'm going to get a large pizza and 20 wings. That's been a cheat meal for me or something, but we've been pretty clean with our cheat meals.
Yeah, that's another thing for me recently with cheat meals too. Me and my girlfriend had a couple burgers a couple nights ago, and literally all it did was mess up my digestion. Yeah, and, I'm having I'm honestly this is probably the hardest it's been for me to eat in my life, where I am right now. And that's all I thought. It's I had a couple of burgers and a fries, and the next day just made it that much harder to eat my first meal. And I was bloated going into my training session, and just and I'm just at the point where it's man, I don't even want it.
That's how I would I was stuck at that 265 and I couldn't get any heavier. I couldn't put anything else on. I cut the cheat meals out and my appetite has been going through the roof. I've been starving. I haven't had a cheat meal this week and I've just been starving nonstop, getting more clean food down than anything.
Yeah, and exactly. That's what's going to help you grow. I think we underestimate sometimes. Now, not for everybody. This is obviously person to person, but I think cheat meals can really hold us back. And my thought process now too, it's man, I'm eating over 700 grams of carbs a day, from clean food. It's do I really need a cheat meal?
Right.
I'm pretty.
You just want it. You want it mentally to just have something different than what you do every single day.
And that's all it is.
That's exactly it. It just comes down to whether it's serving you or not, you know. And
for me, like, I'll have one cheat meal instead of like 2 clean meals. So like it's a way for me to kind of like skip a meal, right? Like and it's not good. It's not a good mindset at all.
And that's how like me and Jordan have been kind of doing like the steak, and go to like Texas Roadhouse or something, get a steak, chicken breast, baked potato, and a salad or something is what I've been doing. And like it's just like you're getting something that you don't get every single day, but it's still not like a dirty meal.
Yeah, you're so
doesn't mess up my digestion. I'm still feel good. And a lot of times I'll still go home and I'll still be hungry in an hour or two, and want to have another meal before bed.
Well, it still gives you that mental reset because you're not having to like prep that meal. Like you're not in the kitchen, cooking that meal and then like having to sit down and stuff. And I don't know how you guys are, but like I don't like cooking my own meals. I mean, if I had a personal chef, I'd be like, that's awesome. I mean, obviously I can't afford that, but
you'd
like
be 300 pounds.
Yeah. But like going to like a restaurant and sitting down and like letting them make my food just gives me that chance to also like just relax, even though I'm eating, just a steak and some chicken and like a baked potato. It's just like allows me to relax and be like, okay, I didn't have to slave over this meal and make it every time I'm having to be in the kitchen and stuff. So it gives you a mental relax for sure.
I don't really mind cooking food. Like I think, because cooking is just part of being a bodybuilder. It's just something that we do. The meals are already prepped anyways, but so I don't really think like, oh, this is something that's going to relax me or anything, but it's more of like the social aspect. It's like, I just like having that time to kind of like, when we went for sushi, it was like such a great time because we were just shooting the shit and like, just, the food was just kind of there. Like I wasn't really thinking so much about the food, just like having fun, like fucking eating the whole roll, like with one bite, just having a good time, like with people that, good people. I think that's the most important aspect of having those cheat meals. Like, I don't think there's a large reward or even like that much of a benefit to having, a food delivery come to your house, you're paying $50 and you just like fucking stuff your face. Like, in my opinion, and this is because I've been very aware with food choices for over a decade with having eating disorder. It's like these kind of habits are just not good or sustainable habits. It's like, what about a $50 meal every week? If you cut that out, how much money are you left with to invest in XYZ? So it's like, just that's kind of where my head's at with like cheat meals and stuff. If I'm going to spend the money, I want to make sure that it's with people that I love and people, that love me, and we can like spend that time together. So I have an experience rather than like, it's the food that I'm paying for. It's more so the experience that I want to pay for, if that makes sense.
And that's the same thing with like me and Jason. I think it's like because we're both married, so lots of times our cheat meal we'll ask our wife like, oh, what do you want? Like, what are you feeling? And it's not really like even like what we are like craving or anything. It's just like doing things so that you can have a date night, so that you can keep the relationship healthy and just not feel like you're just like being selfish 24/7.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And to go back to that about, being on, being off, because I think that's a good topic that we can kind of discuss today, is it's very individual, like I'm similar to Jason in the fact that when I'm off, I feel like my anxiety is lower. I feel like my inflammation is lower. I feel like my sleep gets better. My appetite gets better. So there's definitely a lot of benefits of being off or just on TRT. While I'm on, definitely there's a quicker advancement in my physique progress. So, the work that I'm putting in, it manifests as a better physique more rapidly than it does when I'm off, even though I'm putting in the same amount of effort. But I still enjoy the way I feel mentally more when I'm off. I just don't enjoy as much looking at the pictures when I take them,
Yeah, I feel like for me, I mean, again, like the pros and cons of both, right? I mean, I know, and I think it has to do with maybe like how long you've been on for when you're coming off and like substances that you were using. Well, like I know for me, like coming off my last like prep, like that off period was the longest I ever took off, and which is something I really needed to do. And I think I'm reaping the benefits now from doing that. But like, I mean, I took 12 weeks off. I think I took like 12, 13 weeks off, right? In between cycles, my pre-contest cycle to my current off-season cycle. And first half of it was great, but I think that's just because a lot of the drugs were probably in my system for a long time. But then when I hit week like 8 and 9, it was like the most trouble I've ever had mentally like coming off of like even feeling like somewhat depressed and things like that. And, it was probably a combination too with me with like getting my pro card and like riding that high for so long. And then like that kind of wearing off, and then like the drugs kind of wearing off at the same time, like really kind of put me in a bad spot mentally. And that's when me and my coach basically had to kind of have a conversation, and we increased my testosterone dose. Like I think I was only taking like 125 milligrams a week of test, and we brought that up to 250. So like we doubled it just to like kind of finish off that cruise. So I just had to be honest with him. I was like, man, like I'm not feeling that good mentally. Like, like I think we got to like do something here. And that worked, and it kind of got me to where I am now. But I'm kind of glad I went through that, because now moving forward, it's going to be something I'm be more aware of, like when I come off, to kind of pay attention to it. Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. For me, I definitely feel like, okay, like I'm more motivated and stuff on. And so like, I'm ready to get back to that. But like towards the end, I'm like, I'm tired of stabbing myself. Like, this, it doesn't feel good. Nobody enjoys that portion of it. So that is like a good break. And I definitely do feel like my blood pressure, things like that, like bending over to put on my shoes is better, tie my shoes, all that type of stuff. So I definitely feel like I'm healthier, and I feel like, like I'm thriving more as far as like feeling, healthy. But like it's the whole, like you get softer. You don't feel like you said, you don't feel like you can push as much weight. You don't feel like you can push as much growth, all that good stuff. That's the stuff that I miss out, that I feel like I'm missing out on. It's almost like I'm so eager to grow right now, especially since I just turned pro, that I feel like I'm missing out on maximizing everything to grow. That's how I feel in my mind.
So do you guys think that at this point in your career, that you can grow when you're not on cycle?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be not nearly to the extent that as if you were a beginner or as if you were on stuff. Yeah. But like, I still think there's going to be, you're still getting the nutrition in, you're still, pushing the muscle, to failure or out of its comfort zone, putting that stress on it to where it's going to want to grow. It's going to be a lot slower.
I think it's important to define what growth means to you too, because there's so many different metrics that you can use. Well, that's the thing. If you're asking about specifically hypertrophy, building actual muscle tissue, no.
What the fuck else would I be talking about?
Growth, man, like in general, like, whether it's life, whether it's your mind, whether it's, because those things all tie into your ability to build muscle. Are you saying that's incorrect? Because I would say 100% that your ability to grow in other facets of life directly impacts your ability to build muscle.
So yeah, I think though, even the hypertrophy, what you're saying though.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know about like voluminous size, at this point, but you're still going to build that muscle density and muscle maturity. It's going to change the look of the muscle. You are technically building muscle. It just might not be the voluminous size muscle that you would just automatically notice by looking at someone. But you build a muscle to the point that when you peel down and you're shredded again, it will look different.
Yeah, I think exactly that. Like, I think that, because we're at this point in the game, right? Like 10 years in, like approximately, right? Like our bodies are so used to, like, when we grow, like we kind of need that anabolic environment of like taking some stuff, maybe some GH, like, obviously to keep pushing ourselves from where we are, like it's going to take that stuff, right? But that's a really, really good point. About how, like, just obviously continuing to train hard and like stick to your diet through your cruise phases is going to help build that muscle like density and maturity. Because I think like that just comes with time and literally just kind of beating on the muscle like over and over, right? So yeah, it's a good point to like, have that in your mind to train hard throughout those cruise phases and maybe try to achieve that, like, right, or continue to work towards that anyway.
That's just why I wanted to define it, just for people actually listening. Because when you say growth, it could be anything, right? So I know obviously we're focused on building muscle, but then also like we're talking about being off, and like we should define that too. Are we talking about being off, there's no drugs at all? Or are we talking about, being on TRT like you mentioned? Are we talking about TRT plus GH? Like there's a lot of different combinations that you can use to still be quote unquote off, and you can still build muscle that way, I believe. But I think if you're going from being an enhanced bodybuilder to completely off, where like your testosterone's tanked down to like the low digits, then I think maybe in that case, no, you're probably going to start regressing in the opposite way. So I think when we're talking about, being off as bodybuilders, generally we're talking about being on some kind of low dose of hormones just to maintain what we have.
Just say in the normal range, the healthy.
If you're in the normal range, then yes, I do believe you can still build muscle. It is going to be slower.
So you think that we can build muscle in a normal test range?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
But like, dude, so you think, like, don't you feel like at this stage in the game though, like even like when like we're taking GH, we're taking, test EQ, MPP, whatever, like it's still hard to grow. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're only gaining like, how many pounds of muscle do you think you're going to gain per cycle at this point? Like,
I'm going to be up 20 pounds this year.
I'll leave.
Speak it into existence.
He's been taking TRT the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, so just my opinion.
I know what you're saying.
That was an
I know what you're saying. I think it's a good debate, honestly.
Sarcastic response, but
yeah,
but that's the goal in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I was also going to bring up about Mo, you were talking about like you come off and you kind of felt like depressed and everything. What is your go-to like when you come off? Like, do you run HCG or anything?
No.
So HCG is like my big go-to. Like as soon as I come off, like using that to kickstart my own testosterone, so I don't have such like a flat line. Like he was talking about, like Robin was talking about, when you come off and like tanking your test. Well, if you don't tank your tests and stuff, like some of that chemical imbalance between being depressed and everything might not be as harsh for you if you started using something like HCG to kind of like kickstart your own natural testosterone, so that then you kind of come back to at least close to a normal level for somebody who's not on gear.
Yeah, well, based off my last experience, I think that's definitely something I'd be willing to try to see if it makes a difference. Because obviously it would probably work, right?
Yeah,
that's what it does for sure.
Exactly.
I think too, in my case, even my TRT dose could have been a little lower than it maybe should have been anyway.
Yeah.
But hold on, because that's a good point. Because Jordan, you recommend using HCG because it works for you. But in my experience and many others' experience, it doesn't work for that, because if you look into that drug, it's actually not for men to get their natural testosterone levels back. That's not what the drug is for. There actually is drugs now that are specifically designed for that. Kispeptin is one example. Triptorelin is another example. They're gonadin releasing hormones, and these are like similar. They're in the fact that they're peptide hormones, but they're more specifically targeted towards men who want to bring back their fertility levels, whereas HCG is actually for females. So it's interesting because it does work for some men, but it doesn't work for all men. So it's one of those things, like it works great for you, but it didn't work for me. I don't know if it'll work for Mo. Jason, I don't know if you use HCG, but that's why
in the past, but I haven't recently. In the past few times I've come off.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? It's kind of it's a little bit more complicated. Yeah.
Everybody's different, and I'm not saying you have to go try HCG. I was just throwing out, that's what, like I said, that's what I use, and maybe you want to try either that or either some of the other stuff that like Robin's talking about. But I was just talking about, like he was talking about tanking your system, and maybe that might tank your training, and you're willing to push to grow because you're already in that depressed state because you've tanked everything, and now your hormones are just roller coaster all over the place.
Yep.
Yeah, and like you said, everyone responds different to different things. So HCG could work amazing. I was telling Jordan, my little brother, he's never taken testosterone. He's never, taken stuff like that, anabolics or whatever. But he works out a lot, and he was always more of a sports like tennis and stuff like that. But he went and got his blood work done because I told him, like, dude, because he was feeling just tired and just not himself. And his testosterone was just kind of tanked, and he told the doctor he didn't want to take, he would rather not get on like testosterone and stuff like that if he didn't have to. The doctor could put him on HCG, and like I can't remember how long it took, but within a couple months, dude, his natural test levels, like just from being on HCG, was up to like 1,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So some people just respond crazy.
Yeah. But it's also like circumstantial too, like, especially with the mental side effects, like if you already deal with like anxiety or any type of mental health issues, like we know like just using steroids in general can like amplify these things, and like, you know what I mean? So and like it depends how long you're on something. Like if you're on like 750 milligrams of testosterone for 20 weeks, and like you drop your dose down to like 125.
Yeah,
you're
gonna feel it.
Exactly. Like, even if your testosterone like goes to like a normal range, like it's gonna feel like maybe that because you're so used to being like at the top of the
exactly. Yeah,
that's 100% right. There's the process A and the process B, and like where your body kind of swings back in the opposite direction. That's where you feel that hit the most, right? Like you were saying after your show, because like, and you mentioned all of this is that there's so many things happening within your chemistry all at the same time. It's like the high of competing, you literally won your pro card. It's like one of the biggest achievements in your life until now. And then it kind of, all of that excitement, dopamine kind of dips back down in combination with your hormone levels, also kind of trying to get back to some kind of homeostatic kind of place. It's a lot happening. And as you're going through those kind of moods, it's like you're being kind of pulled in directions that you're not used to. And so it takes a while to figure out and kind of ground yourself again after going off a big cycle, or even sometimes when you're starting a big cycle, you can kind of get like a little, almost like an overload of aggressiveness sometimes, or depending on what substances you're using. It's like, that's why I think, the psychology of bodybuilding is not very, very well understood, because mostly we just look at like, this is what the data says about how this thing interacts in the body. But it's like, well, how about all of these like anecdotal experiences like ours, for example, that it's like, they're just so different. We would never be able to write a research paper on this because there's no way to generalize at all.
That brings me to brings up a question I got on a Q&A I done on Instagram a week or two ago, where somebody asked me, why does it seem like a lot of pro bodybuilders disappear from social media for a little while after they finish a competition or their competition season? And that's like that. It's that mental thing where they just,
totally.
You have that high, you're riding that high going up and up to that peak moment of competing. And then, you don't have that focus on that goal anymore. Everything kind of drops off. A lot of them will come off of things. And it's like that mental, drive of doing everything, sharing everything, being out in front of everybody with it. It's just it's hard to keep that up.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think especially with competing specifically, like you have a purpose for so long. Like every day is like for that one thing, right? And like we're such creatures of habit. Like that becomes a habit to you. Like, you know what I mean? And then once the show happens, your brain loses that thing that it's like so focused on for so long. Mm-hmm. So it can make you feel like you don't have like much of a purpose. Like you're like, what now? Like, and that's going to put you kind of like in a depressed state. Then you're not going to want to post anything because you probably think like you're useless yourself. So like, why are you going to share anything with anybody?
Well, that's why I think
that, right?
Well, that's why I think it's like important, like for me, like my aspect of as soon as I finish nationals, turn pro, like that same week, me and Justin were already talking about like what pro shows we were going to do for like a pro debut. And I know that sounds like, oh, you're being like a little overeager. You're kind of getting arrogant or something with it. But it's like, no, like we would much rather have it set in stone. So even though like, yeah, both of us are taking long off seasons, me and my coach, but like that whole long off season, I can be thinking about, I need to grow and have that goal in mind for this show. And by this date, I need to be ready for that show. So like it's immediately, as soon as you're done picking another show, so that you have that same thing that you're talking about, like that goal every day that you're thinking about pushing towards.
I think that's super smart, man, because like you guys are saying, that's kind of the worst thing about finishing a show is that you don't have an immediate next goal. Basically, you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Now I can do whatever I want. And then, I have access to all this food now and there's no restrictions and let's just fucking party time, right? But then you can only fucking have party time for so long because then you start harboring these feelings of guilt. It's like, well, now I'm just eating shit for like 3 weeks straight. Now, if I post a picture, people are going to think what the fuck happened and all this kind of stuff. There's so many things that go on in your mind after. If you can pick out a show and get to it right away, even if, like you said, if it's like 2 years down the road, who cares? You still have something to strive for. And therefore, you're still waking up with a purpose. So the competition, your next competition starts, as soon as that first competition ends, right?
Yep, exactly. And I was going to go back to the thing about like, you're talking about like HCG or whatever, like everybody's different. Mm-hmm. I had that as a Q&A question the other day. It was, a kid that asked, what's your PCT protocol? And like, I just chose not to answer it. I mean, cause I was just like, I don't want to give somebody some information that might not work for them. and it'd be a waste of money or it end up getting them hurt or something. So like I was going to ask you guys, like, do you guys answer those type of questions? Because it's like me trying to explain that to somebody who doesn't understand, to me, it seems pointless.
If I were to answer the question, I would literally just be like, look, this is what works for me. I'm not recommending it for you. But yeah, typically, unless they're a client of mine, I don't like to, because I know you get to know a client. You get to know them, and you're still not a doctor, and you still let them know you need to go get your blood work done after a cycle and figure things out like that.
And too, like with a client, like you're controlling everything else they're doing. So know that if they're on a cycle, that's going to be a reasonable cycle because you're prescribing it to them, and that they're doing everything else right to get the most out of that. And you probably are helping them with like taking certain health supplements and stuff like that to mitigate any type of like negative side effects they can get. Right now, that's why like when I get these questions, I made like a TikTok video not long ago, like explaining why I don't answer these types of questions and like it's literally just because like the drugs don't actually matter. Like what I take, like what you take, what Robin takes, like it's just like relative to us, and like we just find like what compounds work for us to allow us to be in that anabolic environment. But unless we fucking eat and train like we need to, like it just doesn't matter. Like so that's why I'd rather not tell someone what I'm taking, because then they're going to go do it, which is probably going to be too much for them because they're like a 19-year-old kid. And they're going to drink on the weekends, like eat 3 meals a day that their mom makes for them, and maybe train like 3 or 4 days a week. And it's only going to be chest and arms. So like the test EQ MPP is not going to fucking do shit. Like
true. And not only that too, you're also, every time you kind of appease people that give you these questions, it's like you're kind of just positively reinforcing them to continue to ask these stupid questions rather than if you don't answer the questions, they have to go back to the drawing board and think about a better question to ask to get you to respond. Right. So it's like you're voting for the questions that you receive based on which ones you answer and how you answer them. Right. So in that case, maybe just send the guy a DM and be like, hey man, listen, I'm happy to answer your questions, but I don't want to talk about, this particular topic. So feel free to ask me a better question and I would love to help you out. So at least that way you're showing them some positivity and the fact that you're not just ignoring their question, but then also they're like, oh, okay, now this person can learn how to actually ask a better question to get real information, because that's not real information for them.
Yeah, that's a really good way to go about it. I also think just to reinforce the, trying to get people to focus more on their health in this industry and just newcomers coming into it, I would just, if you did answer it, just say, look, my PCT goes by whatever my blood work comes back as. So I get my blood work checked and I do whatever needs to be done to make sure I'm healthy.
Yeah. What do you guys, I'm actually curious, what do you guys, how do you guys respond to a client, for example, that just tells you like, hey, I just started a 500 milligram cycle of testosterone, my doctor advised it, or maybe, someone else advised it, whoever advised it, it wasn't you. Do you?
Well, I mean, it's depending on like what it is, like what their goal is, like just what's going on in general, right? Because like, well, it's funny. I had a conversation with a client today. He got his blood work back and like, his cholesterol wasn't the greatest and stuff like that, but he ran a very long cycle and he didn't start working with me until the halfway point. And when he started with me, his doses were like way too high, like crazy high test, crazy high DECA. So like I immediately brought all that stuff like way down because I just knew he was taking too much. Right. And I mean, now he's at the point where like his blood work's not terrible, but like there's some things that need to be corrected. He's probably looking at like a 12-week or longer like cruise period, like to try to get these things in check before he can consider doing another cycle, right? So yeah, I mean, more times than not, when people come to me and are already on a cycle, they're doing too much, right? Or it just doesn't make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like they'll be taking like 800 milligrams of DECA a week, and I'm just like, how are you even dealing with the side effects? Like if that stuff is real, right? So I just try to explain to them, I'm like, listen, like you don't need this much. Like you can get a really good benefit from 300 milligrams of DECA a week, not have to deal with all the side effects that I know you're dealing with that you're just ignoring because you think you need to take that much. You know what I mean? So yeah, it usually ends up in some type of correction. I just like really try to explain to them why I'm changing the things and like why what they're doing was wrong, like if it was wrong, right?
Mhm.
Just like try to educate.
That's what I see more than anything is not somebody that I'm currently coaching, just telling me, hey, I jumped on this because so-and-so recommended it. But it's a new client coming to me that's already taking something that I probably wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at that point, all you can do is just, mitigate damage. You just say, well, when was the last time you had blood work? When was the last time you had things checked out? Well, I need you to, if it's been a while, then I need you to go ahead and get blood work done so that I can help you out, or like you said, even just looking right off the bat too. All right, well, what are you running? 800 milligrams a deca? Yeah. Well, I already know I should cut that back. So, I'm going to cut it back and then tell them you still need to go get blood work so I can see where you're at.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. If you're a client and you want to get into hormone use, you have to make sure you're okay with getting your blood work on a regular basis. I think that's so important. When I have a client who kind of is dabbling in hormone use and maybe doesn't have a super specific goal like competing, for example, that's when I do try to go back to like why, just getting specific about why. Like, why is running this cycle so important to you? What do you think you're going to get out of this cycle? How will you know when you've achieved this result that you're looking for, like, et cetera, et cetera? Like, just continue to ask them questions and pull out a deeper reason as to why, rather than just like, oh, just because this person recommended it. Like, but why? But why are you listening to someone? Like, there has to be a purpose there. And I think that will drive the mental side too, rather than just like the Band-Aid fix or the quick fix mentality.
Yeah. I agree.
For sure. So what else has been going on, guys? Jordan, I noticed you painted your room since last time. Looks good.
No, it's been the same color.
What?
It's been purple.
I'm going colorblind. I thought you said you were painting it last time.
I am. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I've been painting like the rest of my house, so I haven't painted here yet.
I like the purple.
I'm not keeping the purple.
Why?
It's gonna be gray. It's gonna be gray.
I thought you said you were gonna change it from gray. That's why. I'm like,
no,
dude, the purple
it
looks
was
nice.
purple. It was purple. This is like, so like the house, like I just moved here, like basically beginning of January. And so like the house, like this room and the room right next door are like identical. And one of them is this purple and the other one is like baby blue. So like, I don't know, I guess they had a boy and a girl. It was like perfect for their kids.
I'm checking right now to see if it was purple last time.
I didn't paint it, so I mean.
Yeah, it was purple last time.
Yeah, just been working on.
So you started prep, Robin, right?
I did start prep. I'm 25 weeks out from Tampa. So.
Okay. So you're just doing Tampa? This is your first show?
No, I'm not just doing Tampa, but that's the first one.
That's the first one though?
Yeah.
What's the date?
Tampa, Texas, Ronnie Coleman.
Okay.
Tampa's the 5th to the 7th of August.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah. I'll see you in Tampa. I don't know
Definitely.
if it'll be 212 or open, but I'll be there.
Well, I'm planning on coming down at least a week before.
Okay.
Preferably if I can come down for even more than that, then that's what I'll do.
Dude, I got a spare room. Let me know.
Awesome.
We'll train together over here, and then Tampa's only a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, that's the plan. So, that would be amazing, right? So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
I got a spare room too. So either way, you can use either of us.
Yeah, I'll use both.
I'll come and stay with you.
I'll just go back and forth.
Bring Mo, put him in a bag.
I don't know if I want to be in Florida in August, man. I want to be like 3:30 by then. It's gonna be gross.
You're just like just profusely sweating every time you step outside.
I'll have one of those like squirty fans, like just with me all day long in a towel.
In the gym we train in, like especially like today, we're gonna go when the gym's not open, and I'm not allowed to turn the AC on whenever the gym's when we go after hours. I can turn the fans on, but I'm not allowed to touch the AC, and so like it gets hot as hell.
Yeah, it does.
But would you rather train
sometimes though?
Yeah, would you rather train in a hot gym though or a cold gym?
Oh, hot for sure.
Hot gym, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But would I rather train in like a not extremely hot gym and just like a room temperature gym? Yeah, as well.
Well, it's not just that. It's like
it's not an option.
No airflow. It's a pretty small building, so it's like there's no airflow. So it's just like stuffy in there. Like you get fit. It's like so humid in Florida. You get done with like a drop set on T-bar rows or something like that, and you're just like passing out, like huffing and puffing. You can't catch your breath,
Well, that's more of Jason because he's also at like 260, but it's not as much me.
Have you guys been to MI40? You guys ever trained at MI40?
Yeah, I've trained there a couple times.
I've been there once.
It's pretty hot in that gym too. Like it's definitely humid in that gym.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Ben Pekulski there once, and then I trained afterwards. And then I trained there it's been a few times actually. But no, it's always been a good time. They had some badass equipment there.
Is that gym big?
You know what?
It's not huge,
not that big.
but it's like it's everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not huge. It's got a cool setup though. Like when you come in, you have like your free weights, and then you've got like your back and chest machines, and then you go around this brick wall, and like on the other side of this brick wall, it's like all leg equipment, and there's quite a bit of leg equipment. So it's got a lot of different options to use, different hack squats, different leg presses.
Yeah,
just like
it's got
everything
in there was like picked out by Ben. Like so, like
yeah.
Dude, the gym is only good based out with leg and back equipment.
So
exactly. That's my thing.
So Morgan, like Pure Muscle 1.0.
Yeah.
That's basically what MI40 is. Like that's what it was modeled after.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's pretty big space. I mean,
but there's a brick wall in the middle. So the brick wall kind of makes it feel smaller. Like when you're on the leg side, it's more intimate. And when you're on the other side, because you can't see obviously past the brick wall. So if you're training like chest and whatever, you're not seeing the people that are training legs and vice versa. So
there's like a turf on the front side of the brick wall where you can do lunges and all that stuff, or push a sled or whatever. And then on the other side is all the like hardcore leg equipment and stuff like that, squat racks.
Robin, have you ever been to a gym bigger than Pure?
Oh yeah, I've been to LVAC in Las Vegas, the one that Jay Cutler trained at. That one was really big because it had 3 fucking floors. You know, so it was like 3 gyms, because I was like, the bottom floor was like the hardcore, right? You kind of walk in, it's like, okay, there's a hardcore section.
That where we hit legs?
Yeah. That
where
one.
I like about died and almost puked and was laying on the floor.
That one was big. Yeah.
Is it bigger than Madhouse?
I don't know. Madhouse is huge, dude.
Yeah. But also Lifetime Fitness here in Canada are massive, except it's like, it's a really giant facility, but the weight room is like a little tiny, like YMCA. It's pathetic compared to
Madhouse used to be like a grocery store, though. Like it
used to be
a $3 grocery store.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It was massive. And I've never seen that amount of equipment in a gym ever. Like you're gonna have 15 different options for a chest supported row. Like just like all kind, like 20 different types of lat pull down machines. Oh, cool. It's insane.
That was the gym I trained at before like moving here. And he came up there for like the Chicago Pro was done in Atlanta because of all the COVID stuff. So he was there and he got to check it out. And so like that was my stomping ground. So, and it's ridiculous. I mean, you come in and it's all sectioned by like legs, chest, back, and it goes forever. I mean, you could get hit like one machine every day for like a year in there. Like it's just ridiculous.
It would take me a couple of weeks to figure out which machines I actually wanted to use for my training because it's so ridiculous. So many options.
That's kind of like Pure too, man. Like you can't.
We got to get you guys to
pinpoint what's good. Like you guys got to come out. We all got to meet up at Pure like sometime. And you guys
100%, dude. And get this too. Like so now they're also doing a 3.0. So they're expanding it even farther. So it's going to be ridiculous, man.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to get up there for like one of the best gyms in the world.
I'd love to get up there.
Yeah, they're doing renovations actually right now to kind of expand it. So I think by the time you come, it should be way different than what it was.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back again soon, I think.
Yeah, it's already pretty different right now. They're bringing in a lot of new equipment and they're getting rid of stuff.
Is that in Canada?
Yeah, it's right here in Ontario. Yeah, just kind of in the west.
The gym that you see like all the HD muscle crew and everything.
Oh, gotcha.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It's kind of like it's just cool because it started out as one gym. Like I said, it was modeled after the MI40, the original, the 1.0, and then they basically just expanded into another part, and just the 2.0 part is like twice the size of the 1.0 part, and now the 3.0 part that they're expanding again is going to be like the size of both of those combined. Like it's just going to be
It's nuts.
It's gonna be like a full cardio session just to do a lap around the gym at some point, you know?
Yeah, like they have like, I mean, like, as of now, they have 2 sets of dumbbells up to 200, and they have like, and I mean, like, there's like 5 leg presses on like both sides.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
we don't have anything like that around here. Like, there's just nothing special near us. Like, the gym we train at is awesome. It's small, but it's like super small, cramped. Everything's just crammed in there, but it's awesome old school equipment and a good environment. But there's just nothing like what y'all have.
Where I train too.
You guys should try to
equipment, like shit like that. Like nothing new. There's no Panada in Newfoundland. I'll tell you that.
now with the Pure Gym, is there a lot of like just like regular people there? I guess you'd say, like not competitors, not people that are looking to get jacked. Like you just have like a bunch of like like soccer moms and whatever. Do you guys have like a lot of that there or no?
No.
I would say like the ones that are like pretty serious. Like you don't get a lot of people that like come in just to fuck around.
It's not an LA
that's why we train at our gym. Like, yeah, it's cramped, but like everyone's respectful. People put the weights back. People don't just leave things out. People wipe down the equipment if they make it disgusting. But like if you go to like a commercial gym here, it's ridiculous. It's just a nightmare. You're dealing with stuff all over the place.
Well, we've had that problem here recently. Like there's some younger guys that are coming in to train and they're leaving a lot of weights on the equipment. I'm having to go kind of around and like respectfully kind of just tell them to put their weights away. And I'll be like, hey boys, like, how's your leg workout? Are you done on this machine? Okay, cool. Like make sure you put your weights away. Like that kind of shit. Like I feel like that should be a given. Like there's no signs that say put your weights away. But I mean, like when you're walking into a gym like this, you should.
It's common courtesy.
It's just gym etiquette, right? So
yeah.
I mean, that was kind of surprising that I noticed that happen. And I think it's just because more and more people are now coming, and then over time, it kind of just the community and the way that the culture is at Pure. It's in a way that people that don't fit in get weeded out. Like if you're gonna come here and like just like be like a negative piece of shit and like not let people work in with you or like leave weights around, don't wipe down your machines, like that kind of stuff, you're going to get harassed by the other members, and then you're not going to fit in. You're going to have to leave, right, at some point. Yeah. So it's just,
well, that's like with our gym, that's why we have to we try to film by ourselves though, because it is so small that we'll be filming a video, like Jason will be recording something for me, and then sure enough, somebody will try to walk in front of our video, not paying attention at all. Like small,
not
Jason
trying
will
to be a dick. They just don't. They're just in their own zone, and just walking through. And there's no. It's so crowded. It's so cramped. It's like it doesn't get super crowded in there. Everything's just cramped. So it's like there's nowhere else for them to walk.
But Jason does good. Like he'll be recording me, and if somebody starts walking through, he steps in front of them, and he's like, "Oh."
I was like,
he just keeps the video going.
This way, I'm recording. Yeah.
He shields it.
So you guys said you were recording some stuff today, right?
Yeah, we're gonna hit a back workout and probably some rear delts, maybe a little biceps or something like that. We don't normally do biceps on this back workout, but since the guy Carlos is going to be there recording, we might throw a little in.
Yeah, we'll probably do some posing and stuff, I would assume, right? Do something like intermission between the video stuff. I don't know.
Trying to hold my gut in.
Yeah.
Not even posing.
Speaking of posing, I did my check-in pictures today, but I saw Morgan post his, so I'm not posting mine.
Yeah,
14.
Morgan posted his, and I'm like, "You're still shredded, bro."
Yeah, Robin, I don't think I told you this, but I got COVID when I was in Ontario.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, dude. So I was wondering what was going on because I was losing weight so fast, and I didn't feel bad, I didn't feel 100% either. So when I went to Ontario, I was 314, like what I am now. When I got home, I was 304. So I lost 10 pounds, and my appetite just completely went to shit. And then that's when I took a COVID test and realized I had COVID when I got home. And but yeah, so talked to my coach about it, and that's why I'm having trouble with my appetite now, because I've been eating so much since then, trying to get my weight back up to where it is now. I've had 4 cheat meals in the last week. And yeah,
I was a solid 314 you posted today.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I was pretty happy with it. I was actually supposed to take progress pictures a few days ago, and I was not feeling it. I was like, man, I don't even want to know what I look like right now. And even this morning, I was had my camera in my hand and set it up, and I was like, no, fuck this, I'm not doing it. And then I almost went and got in the shower, and then I was like, I got to take pictures. God damn it. And then I took them and then saw them, and I was like, okay, fuck, we're not doing too bad here. So
Well, me and Jason were talking about like we hate posting like our fat off season pictures, but like it's just like the people that follow us, that's really what they want to see. Like they want to see that they can relate in some sort of fashion to like, okay, well, if they can do it, then I can do it too. Because
You
like,
don't just look amazing all year long. Like we
Yeah.
have to, get uncomfortable for a while.
It's such a massive part of the process, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just you have to do this. Like, it's the only way to put on like a lot of muscle, especially when like how far we are in the game. Like, you gotta push it. Like, you got to get uncomfortable. You got to lose your appetite. Like, these are all things that I feel like almost have to happen for you to put on like that extreme amount of size.
Yeah.
But I mean, Jason, you're holding up pretty good too.
I cleaned my diet up this whole week, just kind of like, I don't know, pre-prep before the prep. Like I start with aceto actually on prep at the end of the month. But the way aceto works is like basically when I send my first check-in, so like, what are you eating right now? And I'll send him exactly what I'm eating, and he might make one or two tiny little changes, like, it'll be very, very minimal changes that he'll do to whatever I'm already doing, and then just slowly make changes along the way. So I wanted to make sure that I was like already eating a very consistent plan, and not like cheating here and there and stuff like that. So I cleaned everything up this week, and I've lost like 3 pounds already. But I'm like,
dude, I was gonna say to you, like, you look like your face looks like a bit slimmer. And
the blow, dude, I feel so much better.
Yeah, and your delts look more capped than.
I feel so much better. Like the bloat and like the water retention and stuff like that. It's plus I'm only on like test and a tiny bit of primo right now.
Did you notice that we're all? Did you notice we're all wearing tank tops today? It's the first time. Oh yeah, let's go. Okay, we got to synchronize that. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I win. Just kidding.
Yeah, Robin
front double's not my best
it.
shot.
Hey, I got a reputation to uphold now. I got the biggest arms in Canada. That's it.
Do you?
That's legendary.
Apparently, yeah.
That's
how big are your arms?
22.2.
Damn.
22 and a quarter.
I don't know the last time I measured my arms, but
yeah, I don't measure.
On me?
Hey,
you have a full inch on me?
Now I do. Yeah, we did a fucking crazy arm workout last time with the blood flow restriction bands. Pumped them up.
You think that makes a difference?
Oh, huge, man.
Wow.
Yeah, try them, man. I'm serious. Like when you just honestly just throw them in like on your last superset or do a giant set just with them. When you're already fried, but so you're not going to go as heavy anymore. Obviously, you're going to go even lighter, but you just do like 15, 20 reps, just pump.
Well, dude,
me and Jason.
Go ahead, Jordan. Sorry.
I was gonna say, me and Jason need to try that. That's all. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
The funny part is, we were just talking about it. I haven't had an arm day or actually an arm workout in about 7 months now, 8 months.
Yeah.
So like I've been throwing like one bicep exercise at the end of one of my back days. That's all I've been doing.
But I was thinking we could do that. We could throw in the blood restriction training with just like our 1 or 2 exercises that we do sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, when I start prep, I was going to start adding an arm day anyways. So it's not like it's a super taxing day. And it'll just, when I'm in prep, you know how it is. It's like the gym is like the one time you're not thinking about your next meal. Mm-hmm. So I'll start training 6 days a week probably. And just one of them will just be an arm day. And, it's not like a crazy taxing day like back or legs or something like that. So it's still not going to, ruin like my recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'll be honest. Like I didn't do arms on their own day for a long time, probably since 2017, because I had good arms and I wasn't motivated to get them any bigger. But now, because we did that thing and we actually measured them in the gym, and I was like, oh fuck, they're 22. Now I'm like, well, I could definitely get to 23. So I'm actually motivated. I got excited. So I'm motivated now to actually have an arm day. And it's been a lot of fun, man. And also because I worked with Eric Seifert and he helped me fix my elbow. So now I can actually train my chest, my shoulders, my arms without having the elbow pain. It's just like, I'm so much happier and excited now for that.
The day before I left, or the same day I left the other week, I trained with Mike, Mike Van Wyck, and did arms with him. First time, because I wanted to purposely train with him for arms, because I know for me, like I had to do something different. And I see everyone supersetting arm workouts, and I just don't really know how to do it like properly because I've never done it myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, Mike takes me through this workout, and like the very first thing we do is this like giant set for triceps. So it's like an overhead extension like this, and then like a bending over extension like that, and then like a single arm dip. And like we did a bunch of other supersets too for triceps and biceps. But the day after that workout was the first time my triceps were like really sore and so like longer than I can ever remember. Like sort of touched them. And I was blown away because the weights we were using were pretty light, like relative to what I would normally do for like cable push downs and stuff like that. But just that like super setting and giant setting, like just completely new stimulus for my arms, I guess. And yeah, I couldn't get over it. So I've been trying to practice like the techniques he taught me. It's going to take some work because he's pretty specific the way he does things. Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, I think it's going to make a big difference. Superset.
I used to do this one arm workout. It's been a while, but it used to destroy me where I would pick one like heavy bicep exercise and work up to like a struggling 8 reps or so. And I would do the same thing for a tricep exercise. And then after I did both of those, I would do like a giant set of biceps and then a giant set of triceps, like 3 rounds of each. Mm-hmm. And you tear the muscle fibers down with that first exercise on each, and then the pump is just insane, like with the giant sets afterwards.
Yeah, it kind of makes it more exciting too with the giant sets because like that's how we were doing them. Like I would do like my right arm and then my left arm and then go right back to my right arm like without a break. So yeah. after 3 rounds, like your arms are just like blowing up. Like you kind of got to bend over like because the pump is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, like this is what an arm workout should be like instead of just like doing 12 reps of a cable push down and then like resting. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of silly to do it that way.
Helps you keep a good pace too, right? And just you're if you can be just working on training your arms the whole time in that like whatever 55-minute arm workout that you do, it's like, dude, you're getting so much more volume pushed into those arms. Whereas if you did a set and then rested, did a set and then rested, it's just like you don't really stop. You just like when I'm doing arms, because pure muscle has like a bajillion arm machines and they're kind of all over the place. So it looks hilarious because I'm just, if training with Antoine, it's like we're just literally running back and forth between machines, like kind of all over the gym. But then it's like my fucking arms are just balloons by the end of it. And you get a good sweat. You almost like, you get that component of cardio that you almost kind of missed out on regular arm days. It's just like, 8 to 10 reps. Okay, now. All right.
Well, like for me,
I think on a good arm day, you shouldn't be able to freaking take your hat off at the end of the arm. Like, you should not be able to touch your shoulder barely, like your arm should be so full of blood.
Yeah, like my arm workouts were like literally my longest workout. So I'll do like 3 or 4 exercises with triceps, like 3 or 4 for biceps. But again, just that like straight set, like, you know what I mean? So my arm workouts are like an hour and a half. My leg workouts are like an hour. I'm like, this is not okay.
I'm the opposite. My arm workouts would be maybe 45 minutes. And then I'd be in the gym for 2 hours on leg day.
So yeah, I just touch my legs, man. I just go in like, 3 sets of squats, like, 2 sets of leg pressing. I'm fucking out of there.
Couple Bulgarians, fucking huge. That's
yeah. Like 1 drop set of Bulgarians, like the body weight.
Must be nice.
Like out of there.
I do the same thing. So like I was just thinking like I do about 4 triceps and 4 biceps, but I'll do like the sets of like a bicep exercise and then go straight to a tricep exercise and go straight to a bicep exercise. So it's still quick, but I'll do like 3 or 4 sets and then move and then 3 or 4 sets, move 3 or 4 sets and move. And so I'm like tag teaming back and forth. So while like it's resting a little bit, I still end up with like a solid pump before I get back to like the next exercise.
Yeah, I think like there's many ways to do it, right? I think it's more so just by keeping that pace up and just keep the blood flowing the whole time because like exactly, right? Like if you're training biceps and triceps, like there really shouldn't be much need for any rest periods. Like maybe you take like 2 or 3 rests throughout the whole workout. Like, you know what I mean? Just kind of catch your breath, like give them a little break and then just keep the intensity.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like a super taxing workout where you're not doing squats. You're not doing, bent over rows or something like that, like deadlifts. It's not super taxing on your adrenal system. It's not super taxing on your, anything. So you're going for that pump. You want to stay moving.
Yeah, exactly. You should be able to keep moving. Yeah.
And the thing is too, like maybe you guys have got this before, but a couple of my clients have just mentioned that they don't really, enjoy arm day. You know, it's like, I don't have the same feeling when I train my arms that I do when I train my legs back, etc. So this is a good way to kind of introduce them into a more intense way to train their arms. Just have them start off. You don't have to kill them right off the bat, but have them start off with a superset and then maybe do like, you know, a heavy movement for each buy and try, and then go back to a superset and then finish them with the giant set. They're gonna be like, whoa, that was so much more fun. And it's just like, it's more mental than anything. If you're having a good time training, then you're not thinking like, oh, I can't wait for leg day. It's just like, holy fuck, this is awesome. You know, now I see why this is enjoyable, right?
Like if you go into an arm workout, like I normally would, being like, oh, you know, it's gonna be boring. Like got to do the 4 exercises, and that's exactly what you're gonna do, and you're gonna have the same outcome. But if you go into an arm workout, you're like, I'm not gonna take any rest periods this entire workout. Like you're just gonna go the whole time. Like it's gonna be a completely different workout. You know what I mean? You're not gonna have time to be bored if you're not taking any rest times.
Well, another way I motivate myself too is I just tell myself like I'm gonna go like ridiculously heavy. Like I see so many people that just do arms and they're like, well, I can just get a pump with like 25, 30-pound dumbbell or something. And that's all cool and dandy, but like I like to like push myself like within a safe realm. But you know, like if I'm doing like single arm like preacher curls with like dumbbells, I mean, I'll get up to like 60, 65-pound dumbbells, 70-pound dumbbells.
Holy shit.
And but I'm gifted in arms, so I know I have strong, but like I'm talking strict form, like not breaking my arm away from the pad, like keeping it completely strict, not engaging my shoulder. I just have really strong arms. But like for me, that's cool because I can push it versus like, you know, like the same with like legs. Like I want to push more plates on the hack squat, more plates. So it's like, it's the same idea for me. If I'm not like rushing through a workout, then I really just focus on like pushing the weight. And obviously I listen to myself, you know, if I feel like tendons or ligaments aren't feeling right, then I'm going to back off. But like, if I feel like I can go for it, I'm going to go for it.
Jordan, how tall are you?
I am like 5'4", 5'3.5".
Yeah, you got the levers for those heavy ass girls, man.
I will say this though, to go along with him, when I first got going and was really trying to push it like on arm day and stuff like that when I was younger, like, and before I even started bodybuilding, like competing, and I just wanted to have big arms to wear a medium shirt to the club and look good. Like one of the main things I would do is I would start my arm workout with like barbell cheat curls, you know, and I'd go, I mean, I was talking about like 275, you know, like I would cheat it up and I would slow control on the negative, and then I would cheat it up and I might only get 6-7 reps, but I would do that. And then I would go into things where I'm, you know, pumping out 8 to 12 reps on things and stuff like that. And I would start supersets, but I always started it with something that I was like trying to progressively overload almost.
Yeah. Like I would do the same thing. Like I would start every arm workout just because like I had a time of like, I'm sure we all do, like when you're starting lifting and training, like you kind of care about like how you look in the gym and like,
right.
You're worried about what people are like watching you do. So like I would be determined to curl 135, like every arm workout, just put a 45 on each side. So I'd go in and do like one warm up set with the bar, but I knew like I could not exhaust my biceps at all if I was going to be able to curl the 135. Right.
Right.
So yeah, like 2 or 3 sets, 8, like 135, like terrible form barbell curls. And then I would just continue on with my arm workout like a normal person.
Yeah. You always like, you go through that phase, of course. And I was still going out to the clubs. So like in the gym, I'm like, I want to be like,
yeah, you want to be king of the
big
gym.
guy, the strong guy, whatever, even though I wasn't the big guy back then.
Jason walks up to his wife and he's just like, guess what? I curled 275 today.
The funniest time was I pissed my brother off so bad. He was in there with a friend of his, and he's like, he was young. He was probably, you know, maybe 17, 18 at the time. And he was benching like 185 and I was doing arms or whatever. And I walked over and I saw him like struggling on his last rep of 185 and he racked it. And he's like, he's like, how many can you do, Jason? I was like, I don't know. Let me see. And I walked up and I grabbed it and started curling it.
Hell
He
yeah.
got so pissed off.
That's great, man. That's hilarious. That's like, it's almost like a good feeling, right? Like if someone's squatting in the gym, like this happened to me before, and like they fail with like 225 or something, and you just go like pick it up off their back and just like rack it for them.
Yeah.
Like, here you go, man. Like I got it for you. And you just like crush them completely. Because not only did they fail in the gym, but you just like did like an upright row of the weight they were using and just like racked it for them.
I think one of the best ones ever though was like somebody had just like failed a squat or something like that. I can't remember how much weight was on there. Might have just been 135. I don't remember, but it was at an LA Fitness, and they got it racked back up. And my wife had been waiting on the rack, and she walks up, and they had just failed it. They got it back on the rack, and they start taking the weight off. She's like, no, you can leave it on. She pulls it off, pops out like 10 reps with it, and they're just looking at her like,
shit. Yeah.
My old training partner used to love to do that. She was really strong, right? And she would love to go to guys that were just finishing their leg press with like 4 or 5 plates, whatever, ask to work in, and then just crush them.
Dude, my mom does this. And so my mom is like, she's pretty jacked. Like she has really strong legs, especially. Like go figure, right? And at the gym she trains at, there's like 2 hammer strength leg presses, like identical, like right next to each other. And she can leg press like 5-6 plates aside for like 50. Like, you know what I mean? So she'll always send me videos or pictures. Like she'll show her weight, and then she'll show like some guy next to her only doing like 4 or 5 plates, and she's doing more than them. She's like, I'm just out here making dudes feel bad again. I'm like, good. Proud of you, mom.
Oh my God. Alpha mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's like me, man. She's brutal. Yeah.
Man.
that's funny.
I wish my parents could do that.
Awesome.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
I trained my mom for like 7 years. Like when I was personal training, like first getting into it, she was my client.
Yeah.
My mom was like 3 times a week for like 7 years with me until I gave it up.
I got my parents in the gym about a year ago, maybe a little more than a year ago, and was training them a couple times a week. My dad's 76, 77. It was the first time they'd ever been in a gym.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Damn.
Like a regular gym. Like my dad was like, we'd been to boxing gyms and stuff like that in the Air Force. Because he boxed and stuff in the Air Force, but he'd never been to like an actual gym.
So do they
when I first started training, I brought my dad into our little home gym. We had like a couple benches, dumbbells, whatever. And he's like, I want to get in shape. And I don't know why or what I did wrong, but we did like a couple minutes of it. And then he's like, hey, fuck this. Like, I'm not doing this ever again.
When you were better at it than him, probably.
Maybe, I don't know, but yeah.
My dad used to. My dad was in the military. Like used to work out and stuff, and like had a pretty. I mean, he wasn't like, wouldn't say just like yoked, but I mean, he was. I would say he's pretty jacked. Like had some muscle and stuff, and so like now like he's older and he has like shoulder problems and stuff, and he's like trying to get back into it. But like I'll send him videos of stuff that I do, and he's just like. He just starts talking trash. Like he won't let me like, he won't be like, wow, that was a good set. He'll just talk trash. He'll be like, well, back in my day. And I'm like, thanks, Dad. Like really. So he likes to bust my balls a lot for the most part. So
yeah, that's like my dad too, man. My dad won't give me anything. Like every time he sees me, He's just like, when you're 50, all that's going to turn to fat, right? like yeah. Because like when I turn 50, I'm just going to stop doing this, just eat KFC like all the time, not work out. That's exactly
probably. Hey, that's a good retirement plan, man. 401k, KFC for the rest of your life. It's all good.
And listen, I started investing this year, man. So like that could be in the foreseeable future. Yeah, I'm all about doing the least. So
that's it. My goal when I'm old is just to retire, live at the cottage, just chill. Still want to train though. I still want to train. I want to train forever, man. Like I honestly, like I want to train till I die, basically. Like it's just so sad that, like some bodybuilders can't train anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
do you guys have like a downsized plan for like when you retire? Like, do you guys ever think about that? Like what you want to look like when you're done bodybuilding or?
I'll be honest. I'll probably maybe walk around 200 at the, like, it's not gonna, I'm only 5'8".
Yeah.
So like, I think back to like when I was first getting into bodybuilding and I was, 200, 205 in the off season, stuff like that. And just how much more athletic and like, just mobility, just energy. everything was just so much better just because, you know, I'm not walking around with another 60 pounds on me, you know?
Yeah.
That's a tough question, man. I haven't really thought about it. Sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
I was just saying, I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I just feel like I just now got my career started. So like, I know I'm not young, but I'm also like not old, you know, I'm only 29. So I feel like I got a long ways that I can still push things and progress. So I'm not ready to really think about hanging it up. Cause in my mind, if you're thinking about hanging it up, then you're close to hanging it up.
Hey, fuck no, bro.
Morgan just turned pro. He's already thinking about hanging it up.
I'm not thinking about, I have no thought process of like when I want to retire or anything like that. But I know that eventually when it happens, I'm not going to be trying to walk around huge anymore. You know,
no, honestly, I think it's
downsized. I'm still going to, like Robin said, I still want to train all the time. I'm not going to stop doing that, but it's not going to be the same intensity. And I'm probably only going to be eating 3 meals a day.
I think it's important to have the awareness that it's a reality that's coming. You know, I mean, it's like, because we've seen in the past, we want to learn, you know, from the mistakes of the past, that when guys like try to hold on to this kind of mass for too long, that they don't fare very well in terms of long-term health outcomes. And so we have to know that there's an end date for our physical peak. And that way we can plan to do as much as possible until that time, right? And to have that awareness that because there's a finite amount of time, we have to give it 100%. Because if we don't, we're going to be like, oh shit, we kind of missed the boat. And then not only that, but then we don't have the awareness that there has to be a plan in place. Now, for me, I don't have a plan in place, but I do have that awareness and the thought process of the fact that it's coming. And even though I don't necessarily want to think about that yet, yeah, it's definitely important to have that plan in place, right? Because if you're not competing anymore, well, then what's your identity?
Well, that's kind of like my thought process too. Like when you see some of these guys, like no trash talk, because I'm sure he's still loaded and doing great now, but like Phil Heath stepped off the stage and, you know, then he decided he was going to come back and stuff, but like didn't make a good comeback. So, you know, he's not competing now, I guess. I don't know if he's going to ever come back, but like he didn't set himself up with anything. Like he could have really marketed himself and like had like all types of like, you know, he had gifted, but like it was really small. He could have had like all these different apparel companies. He could have had supplement brands, all that stuff, you know, kind of like you see like Flex Lewis has like 10 different businesses. Yeah. And he didn't. And then now he's like trying to start a supplement brand and trying to do all these other things. And it's like, you should have done that while you were on the up, when you could have been, you know, planning for those sort of things to put money away and back.
Oh, like I kind of know like what I want to do after bodybuilding, but like my thing is like, I know like obviously there's only a period of time where we can have this physique, right? So it's like, I know what I want to accomplish while I have this physique. Like I have my bodybuilding goals. I think like my only worry, like on a personal level, is that if I don't accomplish what I want to accomplish with this physique, I think I'll have a harder time letting go of it. Where it's like, you know, if I end up, you know, being a top level pro, me to hang it up, you know what I mean? Because I'll be like, okay, I did what I wanted to do. But if I'm like 40 and I'm still on the brink of like accomplishing those goals, and it's like maybe I should stop, or maybe it's not a good idea if I keep pushing, like I know myself, like I'll probably keep pushing. So it's just about like being as serious as I can now to like get the shit done that I want to get done, so that I can retire at like at a responsible time. You know what I mean?
Well, I always make the joke, and it is 100% just a joke, because I know that like I wouldn't be satisfied at this, but like thinking about it, I've always said like if I make it to the Olympia and then get dead last, I'm like, cool, I got my hoodie, I made it here. That's great. I'm done.
Not a bad accomplishment.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think I mean, even if I was to get there, get dead last and keep the hoodie, I would still be like, okay, well, now I got to figure out how to come back. And keep coming back. But I know in my mind, I'm like, if I could just step on that stage, that would be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I made it to this stage.
Well, it's all steps, right? It's like, because it's like now you're just like you just want to win your pro card. And like, but now you want to win a pro show, right? And then you're going to get to the Olympia. Okay, that's great. But then you're like, now I want to win the fucking Olympia. Like that's the issue with this sport. Like
we're never satisfied.
That's why shit gets so extreme, man. Right? That's why there is Phil Heaths and Kai Greens and Dennis Wolfs, right? The guys that like push the human body to like literally like the brink of muscular development,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's a good point, man. That's a good point. I don't think any of us will be satisfied with what happens, because just the way that we are, we're always going to want more. We got one Olympia, we want two. You got two Olympias, you want four. It's just, I think it's just the nature of it, right?
man, it's really hard to even think of a bodybuilder that retired because they wanted to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to think of.
And see, that's a good point, because that's when it gets dicey, right? Because it's like, if you are that second place, third place, you're right there. You're fucking right there, man. And you're like, but you're pushing it in your age, it's like, I got a couple years left here. I need to make this shit happen. You can kind of go one direction or another. It's like, I'm going to just push the gear and hope for the best, or I'm going to just kind of stay the course and hope I make it in time before it's like, okay, now because once you hit that peak, man, like this is how I explain to people, like literally it's a peak. And as soon as you hit the peak, you're already on your down. So that's why it's like, everybody wants to get there, but like, you got to enjoy that journey getting there too, because really that's the most fun part, because it's not that much fun when you're on the way down. Right.
But I was going to say, like Mo said, it's the nature of the sport. I think it's just the nature of who bodybuilders are. I mean, all of us at some point, we get along because we have similar personality traits, and all of us that, compete, and people that are in bodybuilding and stuff have that same similarity of like, I'm always hungry for more. And that's the only reason why we got into this sport, because we started in the gym, fell in love with it. We wanted to get bigger. We wanted to get, super jacked. And then, now I want to compete. So it just goes on. Like, we all have that same similar thing that clicks.
You see the
with
progress,
us
but you're never satisfied.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're all the same when it comes to that. Like I remember my first time bulking, like really bulking. I just wanted to get over 200 pounds. I got like 205, and then I, cut down. My next bulking season, I was like, all right, I got 205. I'm going to get up to 210 this time, and it's like, I never in my life thought I would be over like 220 pounds. But then like, once you get to that, it's like, I can be better. I can keep pushing it. I can get, you're never satisfied with it.
My biggest thing was being like 270 lean, like, and now it's like 314. Like shit's getting out of control.
Same with me, dude. I have a video on YouTube, 2012. And I was fucking 19 years old. Think 19. Yeah, I was 19. And I competed that year at 195, but I had wrote in the video, stay tuned for my journey to 260 lean, and now I'm fucking 280 lean. It's like, it's just crazy how it happens. Right.
Dude, Robin, did you ever win junior nationals?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I was so focused on that, man. I showed up fucking 4 years in a row to win that shit. I went from third to second, and then fucked up and went to fourth, and then came back and won.
Dude, you look crazy, man, when you were like a teen. Like your team bodybuilder picks are like fucking nuts. Like you were bound to be a pro, like,
Well, the craziest thing about that too is like, if I told you guys what I was fucking doing leading into that show, you guys would fucking be mind blown.
Okay, tell us.
I don't think I should say it on the air.
Okay. You don't want to hinder your reputation, eh?
That's right. Okay, I'm ending it here. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. All right. Hey guys, thanks for watching Canadian Beef Podcast. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and check us out on Spotify. You can use our code on helixonline.com. The code is BEEF20. That's BEEF20 at checkout. You're going to save yourself 20% off. You're going to help our podcast grow. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next episode.